I'll be the first to admit it. I'm not a fan of watching live streams. I mean, I grew up when cable was still a thing, and nothing ticked me off more than having to wait to watch something I wanted to watch. Oh, you overslept on Sunday morning? Well, sorry, you missed that newest episode of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and you aren't going to see that episode again until it's aired again. But even so, live streaming has been an incredibly lucrative business. Streamers will have thousands of people come in and just watch them perform live in front of an audience. Whether it be just gaming, just chatting, spectating sporting events, or any other millions of things you can do in live stream, people love the aspect of engagement with streamers and their watchers. And it takes real effort to be live. These streamers have no redo button. They have to talk, engage, worry about brand deals, collaborate, and keep their stream entertaining for hours on end. It is a skill few people possess. And it's truly mind-boggling to me that some streamers go live for 6+ hours every day and are just consistently good at engaging with their audience for such a long time. However, whenever you think of live streaming, you don't usually think of YouTube usually. You more than likely think of Twitch when it comes to live streaming. Unless you're a gambler, then you think of Kick. Now, let me be the first to say, competition is a good thing. It is usually never good to have a monopoly with dominant control over a product or service. And frankly, even though they are the reason I love this website, YouTube basically has a de facto monopoly over long-form self-produced content online. I mean, looking at their closest competitors, you really only have Bilibili in that regard. And Bilibili is really only popular in Eastern Asia countries like China or Japan. However, YouTube's monopoly in this video format is a topic for another day. When it comes to short-form content, YouTube has big competition with Instagram and TikTok, and YouTube also has competition when it comes to live streaming with Twitch and Kick. Except, well, there's no other way to put this. The YouTube live streaming experience sucks. Now, not even counting Kick, because frankly, I don't watch Kick, Twitch has a superior live ecosystem in every way compared to YouTube's. Better chat mechanics, better live interaction, better user interface for live content. Twitch just does the whole live streaming thing better. Now, that's not to say that there are no good aspects of live streams here on YouTube. I mean, the video player on YouTube is way better than on Twitch's, and personally, I do prefer super chats as opposed to cheers on Twitch, but let's be fair here. For the sake of the streamer and the viewer, Twitch has always been home to a better interactive experience. I mean, hell, YouTube streaming is so bad, Ludwig hired one of his mods to make a full extension just to make YouTube's streaming experience more like Twitch's. It should be noted Twitch was the one that started live streaming game. Back when they were just Justin TV, they were the only ones around that had the live streaming experience as we know now. So it does make a lot of sense that streamers just prefer Twitch as a platform. I mean, literally, they were raised on it. And in return, they kind of developed this culture around the platform. The interaction with emotes, the way streamers gauge the sentiment of thousands of chatters in a few seconds, the terminology and slang there, like for real, I use POG unironically in everyday talk, and it's thanks to this goddamn website, and I don't even use Twitch. On the flip side, YouTube, well, they are trying. Sometimes. YouTube in 2015 launched YouTube Gaming, which was supposed to be a competitor to Twitch, allowing a competitive platform to broadcast your game content to people on YouTube. And at first, it definitely looked like a more attractive platform at a glance. Way higher market share in the area, and a way more international platform as well. But when streamers got to try out the platform, the experience was just better on Twitch.
Been around for so long, and despite being absolutely massive, the community itself still feels very tight. And another thing, Twitch does a really good job of making the chats, godforsaken wasteland that is the YouTube streaming tab. Looking for any kind of interesting stream will be a daunting task. The only way you find streams on YouTube is if you already watch the person that's streaming it. It is extremely difficult to find anything that's of interest to you.
It was way buggier, and the live chat was just generally awful in comparison. But this marked the beginning of a slugfest in the live streaming market as soon other competitors hopped into the ring for market share, such as Facebook and Microsoft. And since Twitch was owned by Amazon and YouTube by Google, it was literally like seeing four superpowers dish out money and resources to gain audiences in the sphere. However, streaming soon began to change. Around 2017 to 2018, people began to start streaming without gameplay content. Now, mind you, it wasn't like gaming was dying or anything. This was also the same year PUBG and Fortnite launched and started dominating. But around this time, it just started to become more popular to stream with just your face cam, or you drawing, or dear god, the Forsaken React content. Twitch was beginning to evolve from just a gaming live streaming site. This was also extremely lucrative for those who were born female on Twitch, because as it turns out, being attractive makes you get more clicks. And now, I'm not saying that all female streamers who became popular during that time was just because of their looks. Some of them were actually very good at games, others were really good conversationalists, and a lot of them were just pretty funny. But generally, this just chatting meta gave birth to a whole new host of live streams. Meanwhile, on other platforms, moves were being made, but the overall dominance and loyalty to Twitch was just unrivaled on other platforms. With one big exception. And from what I can tell, unless my memory's bad, this wasn't due to YouTube's direct involvement. But a couple years back, in 2016, marked the launch of a YouTube channel now known to be the originator of a certain subgenre, Kizuna Ai. Kizuna Ai was the first professed VTuber, or virtual tuber, and her start was the beginning to, I think, one of the biggest phenomena in online content creator history. But I'll talk more about VTubers in a few. Before that, I think it's important to talk about big live streaming giants, specifically Mixer, because Mixer, at least from what I could tell, was the starter of the contract trend. In late 2019, Mixer made a contract and signed with Ninja and Shroud, both huge streamers in specifically the shooter games genre. And these were huge deals, like Ninja and Shroud both made over 8 figures from their contracts. This did set a precedent for streamers being signed off of Twitch to other competing platforms. But what was crazy is, like, less than a year later, Mixer went poof. Like, Microsoft, after spending so much money, it was just like, this ain't it, fam. And you want to know the funniest part about it? They canceled Mixer right in the middle of quarantine, where all streaming platforms were getting huge boosts of viewership, and yet Microsoft didn't want to act on this and instead merge with Facebook Gaming instead of getting a piece of that sweet, sweet, sweet pandemic pie. All that being said, though, even though what happened to Mixer, in my opinion, is honestly hilarious, the immense gain in popularity of streamers grew exponentially in 2020 and 2021. With so many people being locked inside, it gave way for massive popularity strikes in many channels. That being said, YouTube, in comparison to Twitch, while yes, saw growth, did not see as much growth in YouTube gaming. Although it didn't really matter, since YouTube just came off the insane growth from T-Series in India, but YouTube gaming just did not have that big of a pie. Well, at least not in the US. Now, I'm not a streamer or even that much of a fan of live streaming in general. So if you want a more in-depth video about the YouTube streaming phenomenon, I highly recommend watching Mogul Mail's Why Everyone is Leaving YouTube. Despite the name, Ludwig goes in depth on why even though English-speaking streamers are leaving YouTube, it has become extremely successful in other countries. But from my limited knowledge, the biggest factor of these are YouTube's huge success in India and the VTuber craze in Japan. YouTube's recent success in India is very apparent and really not something I need to talk about for this video specifically, although it is definitely something I'm interested in researching, so subscribe if you're interested into that. Meanwhile, the VTuber craze is something I've seen a lot of. From Project Melody's debut, to Guragura's success launch, to Nuxtaku's rise in YouTube, to VShojo's creation, to the immense popularity of Iron Mouse and Shy Lily, VTubers have become extremely popular. But if you noticed, everything I just said there are English-speaking YouTubers. And yes, while the popularity of VTubers is palpable here in the English sphere, it is a whole different ballgame in Japan. With immense popularity of Hololive and Nijisanji VTubers, it has become a phenomenon across the country. You'd be hard-pressed to find a Hololive YouTuber under 1 million subscribers. And the levels of viewership, especially for debuts and graduations, are just extraordinary. Now, I don't watch VTubers all that much. Unless you count Ethos Lab, the only VTuber I actively watch is Bow the Whale, and I only watch her YouTube videos. By the way, listen to Citrus Love if you haven't yet, that song is so good. So, I'm not really an authority when it comes to VTuber popularity, so I asked my friends who are involved in the VTuber community, and from what I can tell, Hololive is more focused on YouTube, while Nijisanji is more Twitch focused. And seeing the viewership statistics across both platforms for the two companies, not counting VShojo since their viewership in Japan just isn't that high, yeah, Hololive and YouTube is extremely huge for VTubers in Japan compared to Twitch. Not that it's a fair comparison with how much flack Nijisanji's been getting. Either way, at the end of it all, YouTube and Twitch's markets are very different. That's not to say YouTube has seen no success in streaming in the English world. Events like Ludwig's chess boxing and very popular YouTubers like I Show Speed gain very healthy viewership. But compared to the casual everyday streams that are more for gaming, react content, or just chatting, Twitch is definitely further ahead in terms of viewership for those types of streams. Meanwhile, Twitch struggles a lot just to gain international scale. Yes, they have big markets in English, Spanish, and Russian content creators, but then they go ahead and pull out from big markets for gaming such as South Korea. All in all, YouTube definitely needs help to catch up to their competitors in terms of streaming, which, even if I'm not one to watch live streams all that often, I very much would prefer YouTube does make more of an effort to close that gap. We saw them actively start trying to do this around 2021 by signing popular Twitch streamers to sign exclusively with YouTube, but then they brought their criticisms of YouTube's platform, and YouTube did really nothing in response, except like gift memberships. Again, Ludwig literally hired one of his mods to make an extension just to make YouTube streams more standardized to Twitch. Meanwhile, YouTube has been investing heavily into short form content to compete with the likes of TikTok and Instagram. Which, yes, it's good that we have competition in that space, but I want YouTube to really focus on all of its competition everywhere and start improving their platform to match. YouTube is in such a unique and advantageous position to capitalize on streamers getting into YouTube, with their 70-30 split being the same for every streamer as opposed to Twitch's weird system where you only get 70-30 up to 20,000 subs or something like that. I don't know. Yet YouTube has stopped doing contracts, has really not made any effort to make their live streaming service better, and capitalization of quarantine has passed. Yet, even after all of this, YouTube is the closest competitor to Twitch. Facebook Gaming really struggles to keep up, even after merging with Mixer, and while Kick has gained a lot of big streamers, they also have huge PR problems and cultivate an ecosystem that preys on gambling addictions. YouTube may stay in this weird limbo of always being the second best platform to stream on, but it is only there due to the failures of other competitors. I want to see YouTube being the best that it can be and actively compete again in the live streaming sphere. But only time will tell if they will.